Dr. Sarah Chen carefully studied the portrait as part of her research into undiagnosed psychological disorders in Victorian-era families. The photograph found in the medical archives of Massachusetts General Hospital came with patient records from the late 19th century. It showed what looked like the perfect picture of refined Victorian girlhood. The Blackwood sisters posed in an elegant Boston photography studio in 1897. Victoria, the older sister at 16, sat gracefully in a carved chair wearing a rich burgundy velvet dress with lace and pearl buttons. Her dark hair was styled in the popular Gibson girl fashion, and her calm, confident expression matched the image of a young lady ready for Boston society. Standing beside her was 14-year-old Isabel in a deep blue silk gown with white lace. Her lighter hair was fixed with ribbons and flowers. On the back of the photo, neat writing noted the Blackwood sisters, Victoria and Isabel, October 1897, to mark Victoria's debut season. Dr. Chen had learned to look past the surface perfection of Victorian portraits. While they were meant to show respectability and happiness, they sometimes revealed hidden distress. Something about this portrait troubled her. Victoria looked ideal, but Isabel's face and body language did not match the joyful occasion. In her laboratory at Boston University, Dr. Chen scanned the portrait at high resolution. Victoria appeared healthy, confident, and composed. Isabel's eyes looked empty and haunted with clear fear. Her shoulders were slightly hunched, and one hand was clenched into a fist. The contrast was striking. Dr. Chen began searching medical and social records for the Blackwood family. She quickly found extensive medical records for Isabel dating from November 1897, only weeks after the portrait. The file described a suicide attempt. On November 15, 1897, Isabel was brought to Massachusetts General Hospital with severe injuries from a fall from the third-floor window of the Blackwood Mansion on Beacon Hill. Dr. Marcus Whitley noted multiple fractures, internal bleeding, and injuries that did not match a simple accident. He also recorded many healed fractures of different ages and scarring that suggested repeated physical harm over a long period. Isabel showed extreme fear of medical staff, trembled uncontrollably when asked about home, and begged not to be returned to her family. She asked repeatedly if Victoria knew where she was. When questioned about the fall, she said she had to get away from the attic because Victoria had special games planned that she could not bear. Hospital staff were concerned enough to call in Dr. Edmund Morrison, a specialist in nervous disorders. He concluded Isabel suffered from severe nervous exhaustion caused by prolonged emotional distress. Before he could finish his assessment, her parents insisted on her release and transfer to a private sanitarium. The family lawyer arrived the next day, demanding all medical records and forbidding staff from discussing the case. The hospital, dependent on donations from wealthy families, complied. Social columns soon reported that Isabel had been sent to a finishing school in Switzerland. Meanwhile, Victoria continued her debut season without interruption and was praised as a model of Victorian womanhood. Dr. Chen's research next uncovered architectural records showing that in 1895, the family had renovated the mansion's attic into private recreation rooms for the young ladies. The plans included soundproofing, reinforced locks, and metal rings set into the walls, listed as exercise equipment. Former upstairs maid Mario Sullivan testified in a later legal claim that Victoria took Isabel to the attic rooms several times a week and forbade servants from entering during those sister sessions. Isabel often emerged hours later in distress with torn clothing and unexplained injuries. Victoria would come out humming and looking excited. Staff knew of the suffering but feared losing their jobs if they interfered. Victoria also kept detailed journals of her methods, which later disappeared. School records from the Boston Academy for Young Ladies showed Isabel's frequent absences and declining performance while Victoria excelled. Teachers noted Isabel's growing quietness, fear, and reluctance to be separated from her sister. Victoria had systematically isolated Isabel by spreading stories that she suffered from nervous fits and could become violent. A governess's notes revealed Victoria controlled every part of Isabel's life. Permission was required to speak to staff, leave her room, or read. Punishments involved long confinement in the attic rooms. Family letters showed the parents were aware of tension between the sisters, but chose to see Victoria's control as beneficial, firm guidance. When the school suggested separating the girls, Mrs. Blackwood refused, saying Victoria understood Isabel best. Financial records revealed large payments for the attic renovations and so-called educational and therapeutic devices. Victoria had convinced her parents that Isabel suffered from a hereditary mental illness, requiring constant supervision. Doctors paid by the family supported this view and recommended isolation and firm discipline. With Victoria's debut approaching, the parents avoided any scandal that might harm their elder daughter's prospects. On the day of the fall, Victoria announced an afternoon of advanced sisterly instruction in the attic and ordered staff not to disturb them. Neighbors later reported prolonged screaming from the third floor, followed by a crash and silence. Police found evidence of burns, cuts, and prolonged restraint. Isabel told first responders that Victoria had saved the best games for last, and the window was her only escape. The initial police investigation into suspected child abuse was quickly shut down under pressure from city officials connected to the Blackwood family's political contributions. Hospital staff and officers received payments and signed silence agreements. Isabel was transferred to a private asylum in western Massachusetts, where she was kept heavily medicated and isolated. Victoria faced no consequences. Her debut proceeded successfully. She married a wealthy banker in 1900 and became a celebrated society figure. Isabel remained institutionalized until her death in 1934. Her death certificate listed chronic nervous exhaustion. Victoria lived until 1952 and was remembered only for charity and family devotion. In 2024, Dr. Chen published her findings, showing how Victorian class structures, attitudes toward mental illness, and family privacy had allowed a privileged teenager to abuse her sister for years while maintaining a perfect public image. The enhanced portrait of Isabel's haunted expression now serves as a teaching tool, reminding students that serious abuse can hide behind facades of respectability and that society's failure to protect vulnerable children can leave lasting harm.